Hey everybody. Welcome to I'm Not a Fan Unless I Have a Podcast. We are back. Um this is I didn't post a podcast episode on Tuesday this week. As it was Blackout Tuesday. Um because of everything going on. This, there's more to life than podcasts, and I'm sure that, I mean, I don't know. I mean, this is probably somebody's favorite podcast. I mean, just by default, this might be the only podcast you listen to. Um, and there's more to life than your favorite podcast or just any podcast that you happen to be listening to. So it did not feel right to release an episode on a day where we were where the pretty much the entire creative community was going dark in solidarity with these protests uh, for racial and police justice, and just equity in general. Um, it's This is such a and yeah, this podcast is a good way to escape all that's going on in the world in some ways, but to turn a blind eye to what's going on right now and yearn for the normal days is, I mean, just straight up ignorant. Um, I've learned a lot about myself in the last week. I felt myself go through a major paradigm shift, um, just in how I think about just in how I empathize with people of color, and especially those in the Black community. Um, I think it's especially important that, as a comedian and a musician, a creative person, um, that I support, that I make a better effort to support Black artists, um, and seek them out, because a lot of them have a lot more to offer than you might think. That are, I mean, like, there are so many, there's so many artists out there that need our support, that uh, don't get booked. They don't get acting gigs, for things that are, other than playing a gang member, or some other negative stereotype that the show or movie is reinforcing. Um, Not to say that every show that portrays gang members is a bad show. The Wire was an excellent show. Um, but just my point is, Black actors are they're underhired, and same thing with comedians. They're underbooked. Sure, Netflix gave, like, I think a dozen or so Black comedians comedy specials, and that's cool. Chris Rock got $40 million. That's excellent. He's earned it. But they also passed up. I mean, they totally passed on Ron Funches, um, and I'm blanking on others. But I mean, there's a reason that you've only heard of a select few Black comedians, and not all these dudes that are way funnier than a lot of the best white comedians. Um, I mean, sure, John Mulaney's great, but have you guys checked out Brian Simpson? I mean, there are so many. I mean, John Laster, another amazing Black comedian, who I think he had a Comedy Central special, but I mean, the list goes on. It's ridiculous for me to sit here and just start dropping names, but the point is, with all that's gone on with these protests, um, and just watching them unfold, from the comfort of my home in the desert, where things have fortunately remained peaceful. Um, it's just heartbreaking to watch. I had to cancel um, a couple podcast episodes this week. That I had to cancel a couple of recording sessions just because neither of us um, wanted to record. We were not going to be in an optimal mindset. Um, and especially right now, it is important as hell to be present with this and reflect on yourself and what you can do to be a better ally in the fight against racism. Um, I used to think that I was a good ally. Just in that I used to play on. I used to be one of two white guys on a softball team in Queens, New York. The rest of the team was pretty much a 50-50 split, black and Dominican. And those dudes were the best fucking guys to play with. They had so much fucking passion. And like we felt like a family. I've played on all white softball teams before, and that shit sucks. Like playing on a team that has as much fucking soul, and I don't give a fuck if that sounds stereotypical. These guys had way more soul than any white guys I've ever played with. Um, and I mean, it was just such a fantastic experience playing with them, and I thought that was enough because I was getting because I was doing my part in taking a day out of my week to hang out with these guys and gain some perspective, where they come from, how they operate, how they fucking hang out with each other. And that was great. It was a really rewarding experience being friends with them and everything and playing with them, but it's ultimately not enough. Because while that was all fine and everything, I still was. I was perfectly content with. Not perfectly content, but I figured like, yeah, I'm just resigned to knowing that we'll probably never totally be equal, but it's this is the best we can do. When the reality of that is that couldn't be further from the fucking truth. Right now, we're seeing a survey was just released that said 54% of Americans, surveyed. So I don't know what the sample size was of this, but 54% of people who responded to the survey said that they supported the burning down of the Minneapolis police precincts in response to the lack of justice for the murder of George Floyd. And I mean that just speaks volumes. A lot of social media can just be an echo chamber of things you want to see and hear, and it's important to take that into account. And I always do with anytime that I'm seeing, anytime that I feel myself, thinking that something is a certain way because everybody on social media is posting about it. That's an algorithm. That's just a reflection of stuff that I've liked. That is they're selling like casual things that I've liked. They're trying to sell that back to me. So that's what social media is. And so it's important that you realize that not everybody is on your side, but when a fucking survey comes out and says 54% of Americans feel this way, that is a huge percentage. I mean, 30% would have been enough to move the dial, I think. But 54% is, I mean, good God. we need change. And luckily, the charges have been brought against the 3 other officers, and the third-degree murder charge against the cop that that is primarily responsible for killing George Floyd. He I read that his charges got upgraded. Hopefully to either first or second-degree murder, but point is, it's been a week since the protests started, and we're starting to see something change. The dial is moving, and God, I just hope that we can all get behind this and just see this change through, because racism is such an outdated concept. It's archaic and it's shitty for society. Like, the funny thing about racists is that they have no fucking idea how much they would benefit from an integrated society. Their lives would be enriched. And sure, they might think that other cultures are being shoved down their throat. At some point, it would break through to them. I mean, it's not uncommon to see conservative dudes listening to rap music, hip hop and stuff. See that shit all the time in baseball. I used to be a player development intern with the New York Mets. I used to work in the minor leagues. And most baseball players, most athletes, professional athletes, especially the ones that are white, are conservative. But there constantly be hip hop blasting in the clubhouse, and dudes who I knew were racist. They fucking love the music. So that's my whole spiel on racism. And I could keep going on, but you did not choose to listen to this podcast to hear a bunch of social justice stuff. But at the same time, maybe it's about time that you did, because it wasn't until a week ago when I happened to be tripping on acid, and I saw all these protests going down on Twitter, that I felt a sense of empathy like I've never felt before, for an entire community in this country and across the world, for that matter. I know in Australia they're protesting. They're joining the U.S., Europe, and in Australia they're joining us in protest, because Australia has a lot of problems of its own, as does Europe. Amsterdam. I went to Amsterdam a couple years ago, and I met a racist there. They've got them everywhere, and it's a fucking shame. So I trust that most of us are in this together, and I know some of us don't have a lot of us don't have the stomach to just allow ourselves to be bombarded with with Facebook posts and Instagram stuff, and just all this external this emotion that's coming out from the entire country. It's hard to see, it's hard to take it all in, but I implore you to. And I know it's hard, and look, you don't have to. I don't think less of people for not engaging taking a headfirst dive into this stuff. It is so difficult to do, but it would be so beneficial for your own soul and for society as a whole. So that's how I'm going to cap off this intro. Our guest today on the podcast is he's actually my youngest guest ever. This kid's 15 years old, calling in from the Florida Panhandle. I know that doesn't sound like a promising start to this episode, but trust me, this was a lot of fun. It made me realize my own age. And uh, it's good to know that the next generation has good taste. And yeah, so without further ado, here is Kyan. So Kyan, thanks for coming on.
It's great. I'm stoked to be here.
Sick. I got that name right, right? It's Kyan, the
You,
pronunciation.
absolutely, yeah.
All right, perfect. So yeah, what's a little bit about yourself? Like where you where do you live? What's how old are you? Age, sex, location. I've never been able to ask that question, by the way, in a fashion that's not
Not
incredibly awkward.
completely
It makes me
awkward, yeah.
yeah. I mean like it sounds like it might be Chris Hansen on the other end. Might as well be. Uh,
Well, certainly for me, age, I'm 15. I live in Florida. I'm a guy, if you couldn't
Oh
tell.
shit! This really sounds like Dateline.
Re-
Damn.
yeah.
Oh my god! Well, congrats on being the first being the first minor on the podcast.
Official youngest member. There we go.
Yeah, I don't know. I can make a whole list of jokes about Florida, but anyway, I'll refrain. That's kind
Anyone
of
could,
hack.
honestly.
Yeah, yeah. You guys do kind of bring
They're
it on
so easy at
yourselves.
this point.
Yeah. Well, I guess you. Wait, so you're like Florida Panhandle because you're in Central Time, right?
Yeah, yeah, right up top on northeast or
Nice.
wait,
Has
northwest. Yeah, no, sorry, I'm
okay, yeah,
stupid.
yeah, yeah. It's fine. It's easy to get flips, but yeah. So what's the closest that Gizz has played to where you're at?
Probably New Orleans.
Oh shit! So
I would
have you
think
been able to see them
that's
live?
yeah, just once in New Orleans last year. That
Oh
was
man.
that was awesome.
Well, shit. What was that like?
I mean, yeah, we were up in the balcony. I was with my parents. I would have preferred to be, down there, but I don't know. It was my second concert ever, so I figured, test the waters a
It's
little
good to
bit.
play. Yeah, it's good to play it safe. Like the pit can get pretty intense, and honestly, like I go to shows mainly for the music and just taking it all in. So I could personally do without being in the mosh pit myself. So I do totally get being on the balcony. Um, and you get like a better view as well. But what did your
Yeah.
parents think is?
Um, they were it was it was an experience for them. My mom wasn't into it like at all. So they had Stonefield open up first, and then they were great. Both my parents loved Stonefield. And then, when they were over, there was kind of a break, and then Orb got on, and my dad wasn't super into him. He just, compared him like to just garage rock that you'd hear anywhere. No hate towards
Yeah.
Orb, but that's what he thought. And then by that time, my mom thought, all right, well, that was the concert. That was because she's not super into the Gizz, and I
Yeah.
had to tell her, no, we're just getting started. um,
Oh
so
God.
I think it was like a 5 hour kind of ordeal, like between
Yeah.
Stonefield, Orb, and then by the time the Gizzard had ended, we were there for I think maybe after midnight. And that was it was great.
Yeah.
It was
I
it
can
was my
imagine.
favorite concert. Like
Yeah, dude.
that's what I'm
It's
comparing all concerts from now on to.
yeah. So just try to encapsulate that feeling that you had about seeing Stonefield and Orb, and just use that as like the baseline for where you should what you should expect other concerts to be,
Yeah.
because really nothing compares to Giz. Uh, like as far as I'm concerned, and like I've seen a bunch of like a bunch of concerts and good ones too, but just with everything, just with how involved a Gizz show is, like you're not going to get that from just about anybody else. Like,
Yeah, definitely
definitely
not.
nobody else that I've seen.
I went
But
to a Dave Matthews show in Pensacola, and that was absolutely nothing in comparison to the Gizz show in NOLA.
yeah, I mean, yeah. So when you saw Dave Matthews, was he playing with his whole band, or was he just
Yeah, no, it
solo?
was the whole Dave Matthews Band.
Cool. Yeah, I mean, it's I like I wouldn't expect a bunch of like Dave Matthews fans to be like moshing to Dave Matthews music. Uh, yeah, it's a
Yeah,
totally different vibe.
different vibe. Yeah.
Um, yeah, I mean, I'm a big Soundgarden fan, and so like I saw them live in 2013, and then I saw Chris Cornell play a solo show in 2016. I think, yeah, I think it was 2016, um, maybe 15, but in any case, it was just unreal because like it was like it was a sit down show. It was at the Beacon Theater in New York City. Um, and like that was at the time the best show I'd ever been to. But there were no special effects with like lighting or anything with visuals. It was you were just there
Yeah.
to see Chris Cornell play acoustic guitar and sing, which was awesome. But it's like not
The
nearly as
visuals in a
involved.
Gizz show are definitely like I'd say a quarter of the experience because it's so coordinated with the music.
Yeah, yeah, and I mean just the fact that you have Jason Galea back there, just like
Yeah,
just
Galea's the
basically
best.
on it. Yeah, I mean, like I'd be interested to find out from him like if it all is totally coordinated or if he's also interjecting a little bit of improvisational stuff like just when they go into some extended jams or something.
Yeah, yeah.
um like it'd be interesting to find out how just how planned out
What that
everything is.
process is. Yeah,
Yeah, yeah.
definitely really
So
fascinating stuff.
yeah, so how did you so you're just 15, so like how did you stumble upon Gizz?
Um, I mean, I was just kind of getting into vinyl, and I would go down to the record store, and I'd see their records. So I looked them up online, kind of got a
Mhm.
taste of Nonagon, and they kind of hooked me there. And
And
then
so when was this about?
I'd say somewhere in between Gumboot and Fishies.
Okay, yeah. So like 2018 sometime.
Yeah, around there. Yeah.
Yeah. Man,
You
so
there?
you just stumbled upon Nonagon
It
at
cut out a little bit.
hear me? Oh yeah. Yeah, it'll do that a little bit from time to time, but yeah, so you just saw the Nonagon album just at a record store? That's how you picked it out, or did somebody
No,
recommend it
I
to you
just
or?
saw it, on the I was browsing and kind of just went from there. I didn't pick it up that day, but I went home and,
So
kind of listened to their stuff because it seemed interesting.
okay, yeah. Yeah, it'd be a hell of an impulse buy and a pretty crazy twist of fate if you're just like, hey, this looks like a cool record. You pay $30 and then you go home and play it. It's like, oh wow, yeah, this totally changed my life. Yeah, it's good to do some research
Yeah,
first.
definitely don't want to do something crazy.
Yeah, I mean, well, sometimes it's good to just for the story. Like, imagine paying some absurd amount of
For
money
something
for
you
a
hate.
vinyl of like yeah, I don't know what's something that I God I'm just trying to think of like now I'm trying to think of my least favorite album of all time, and it's
I
hard.
don't think I can really
But
find an
but
album I
yeah,
hate, like in general, just period. I mean, I don't
yeah,
know. I think everything is good
yeah.
in,
I
in
mean,
its own right.
yeah, there have definitely been some albums that have let me down a lot. Like I was expecting something other than what I
Yeah,
got. Like, well, actually, yeah, like I used to be a big Pearl Jam fan, and I still like them, but Um, but like they came out with this album in like I want to say it was like 2014 or something, Lightning Bolt, and it as far as I'm concerned, the whole thing just sucked. And even though like all the fans love it, and their latest album I listened to didn't care for it, but I know everybody's all in, so I don't know. I guess it's just a matter of personal taste. But yeah, I'd be pissed if I paid that much for an album that just I never wanted to play.
Yeah. I don't
But
know. I felt kind of the same way, like
so
the way you did with the Pearl Jam album. I used to be like really into like rap music and stuff, Kanye especially, and I
oh yeah.
have you heard how he is with like album drops and how he just pushes them off and stuff like that because
No,
he quote unquote
yeah,
adds the
I don't really
finishing
know.
touches.
Yeah, so I know that he's like all I know about Kanye is that he's like the most powerful
Probably,
rapper
yeah,
out there. Like just has like the
the
most.
most sway over things.
I mean, like he's definitely, yeah. I mean, he's in another world completely. And which you got to be if you're gonna be like the best rapper of all time. Which I don't know that he is, but
He's certainly
he
up there.
could make the argument. Yeah. Um, I mean, like pretty much one thing that I know you can't do with Kanye is like write a diss track about him. I mean, like anybody could, but it's just not a good idea
Yeah,
to, because you just get annihilated.
there's too many Kanye
um,
stands.
yeah,
um,
but
but yeah, back to
but yeah.
uh,
So was
what's up?
yeah, back to Gizz. Was
What's up?
from Kanye to
Yeah,
Gizz.
bridging the
Uh,
gap there.
so yeah, we're so was King Gizzard like the first sort of psych band that you got into,
Um,
or
I had
um,
previously listened to a little bit of Tame Impala, but that's it's a little weak for me now. I've kind of developed my own taste for like psych music. Um,
yeah, yeah, Tame Impala, I do like them, but they're definitely
yeah,
more poppy
I've kind of
um that
gone
than
away
rock.
from pop kind of music. Um, I
Yeah,
feel like Gizzard, they've
yeah, that makes
they've
sense.
helped me like branch out into different musical kind of styles that like I don't think I would have discovered. Like I got like way into like punk music because their earlier stuff was more garagey, and through that I kind of different artists that kind of had that
Oh,
sound, and then now I've drifted onto like from there I drifted onto like punk music, like Amyl and Sniffers and um, classic stuff like
yeah, yeah.
slipping my
Amel
mind
must
right
have,
now.
yeah. Well, so Amel is I mean, like I got into them, because like I saw them open for Giz back in 2018.
That must have been
Um,
crazy.
oh my God, it was nuts. Because it was like you don't get that kind of energy usually from an opening band, but they didn't give a fuck that people were just filtering in. Like they were like whoever was paying attention and like up against the rail. Um, Amel and the Sniffers was like playing to everybody who basically wanted to have a good time, and they really brought it out. So yeah, they're absolutely nuts to see live. Um,
I like that a lot
but
from like an opening band that like they understand that they're the opener and they can vibe with the fact that you know they can just play to whoever's wanting to see the opener as
yeah,
well.
yeah. I mean, like Amy Taylor, who's the lead singer for Amel, she's just got like some of the best charisma that I've seen of anybody on stage. Um, and yeah, I mean, she's a fucking force of nature. Like,
It's awesome.
uh,
Like even like especially like you can see how I don't know like she's got just this this vibe to her. Like even in interviews, that she's something else,
Yeah. I mean, it's just like next level. Don't give a fuck. Uh,
Yeah.
and yeah, which is kind of like, and Gizz kind of has that vibe about themselves as well, just in terms of like all the stuff that they branch out to doing. Which is like how we got on this topic. I mean, like I've never been much of a jazz guy, but
Sketches was
then after
awesome.
I heard
That's
Sketches,
yeah.
yeah, like Sketches, it took me maybe it might have taken me about a month to really get into it, just because jazz was so foreign to me.
Yeah.
But just in like you know hearing that, and then also listening to just some other jazzy artists that are out there. Actually, there's uh, this trumpet player who's in England. Her name is Yaz Ahmed. She plays like this really interesting sort of Middle Eastern jazz that's also just kind of psychedelic in nature. Um, and, uh, and like basically, I feel like Giz with Sketches sort of laid the groundwork for me getting into her stuff. Um, and then also it's just like there are just so many bands that Giz is vocal about appreciating, and like they'll wear other bands merch
Oh yeah.
when they're playing shows and stuff.
I think that's
It's
the
like
coolest thing.
they're really good. Yeah, it's like they give a lot of visibility to other artists that they like, and then in turn the fans come around to them.
They really do just care
But
about like just music, because they've got Flightless, which, from what I understand, helps like reach out to up and coming kind of bands, and whether
yeah, I
it's
mean,
locally.
yeah, and like a lot of the times it's local. Like Eric will just go out and he'll just go to like these really small shows and just see if there are any
Scout out.
small acts that yeah. I mean, like that's how he discovered Leah Senior. She was just playing some small show, and he really liked what she was playing, and yeah, it's obviously she's gone on to
She's pretty big
bigger
now.
and better
Yeah.
things. Yeah, I mean, like I was really excited to see her open for Giz when they were going to be touring this year, because like I don't know if you've listened to her solo stuff, but
Not a
um,
whole lot, no.
it's she's a great songwriter. I mean, definitely not like she's very much singer songwriter. Not too much energy there. It's just like really beautiful. Um, and yeah, I kind of like that. But also like I think the OCs got on Flightlist for the last album, um, or for an upcoming album or something. I think I saw something with the OCs joining Flightlist,
I
but
think they kind of
which is crazy because like
intertwine
they're
together occasionally. I don't know. I haven't heard a whole
yeah.
lot about that. So
I mean, I know Giz, like everybody's a huge fan of the OCs, but yeah. Anyway, um, so were you planning on seeing them again this year?
if they play close, or I can't really. I don't know.
Yeah,
the my
yeah.
main problem with
I guess
my main problem with going to see shows is I've got a dog with separation anxiety. So if it's anywhere too far away, I can't really leave him too long.
oh yeah. Well, that's admirable.
You gotta
um,
care for the pets
I
first.
mean, yeah. I mean, oh, definitely. Yeah. I luckily like whenever I've had a dog, it's always favored my mom because she spoils it rotten. But so it's only if the dog isn't with her that she'll freak out. Um, but yeah, man. So so do you play music yourself? Because it seems like a lot of fans of King Giz just have just a lot of natural creativity within themselves.
I was actually I'm in the works with starting my own little band with some friends. That's hopefully that turns out nice.
Nice.
I don't play any instruments.
Yeah.
Maybe I'll learn bass. I don't know. I'm just a vocalist.
But, I mean that's cool. Yeah, bass is a good one to learn because that's I don't know. I feel like it's um, like pretty much as long as you got like a good feel down for
Yeah,
rhythm,
it's a big part of it.
bass just sort of becomes second nature. Yeah, I mean like you notice how Lucas stands like
Right next to the
basically up
drummer.
with
Yeah.
Mickey. Yeah, right next to the drummers. So like they're basically this trio for of keeping the beat and the rhythm. Um, but yeah, I mean like
They're definitely like
and
an
like they're
integral part of just how the band functions. You know, you can't without a bass, it would definitely
yeah
sound dry. You know.
yeah. I mean like there was no way that they would go without a bass, but yeah, I'm God. King Giz minus bass would be.
Boring,
I
honestly.
don't know if it would be unlistenable, but it wouldn't be. Yeah, they would
It would
really
lack
be
it
begging
would
for
lack
something.
depth, I think.
Yeah, yeah. That's a good point. Yeah, I'd say it would lack depth. Like they would still be branching out into all sorts of external sounds, but no
Yeah.
foundation on which to stand. Um, but yeah, so you're mainly a
Hmm.
vocalist. Yeah, I'm just thinking like there are a ton of like punk rock bassists that are vocalists.
Um,
You know,
the
like you got
chats.
Lemmy from Motorhead. Yep, Mike Watt from the Minutemen, um, and shit,
There's
there
a
are
bunch of
more.
them. Yeah.
Oh, I mean, fucking yeah, Les
Oh
Claypool.
yeah.
Uh, yeah, yeah, Primus. They're fucking great. Really put on a good show. But yeah. So, what were like what had you been listening to before you stumbled upon Nonagon?
I listen to a lot of Run the Jewels, Tyler the Creator, stuff like that. I've kind of left all that behind in my search for new musical activities, I guess. I don't know.
Yeah.
All that stuff kind of seems really,
So
really
so
boring now. Now that I've found all these, you know, oh,
yeah,
for some reason my Alexa
yeah, I got you.
popped off there.
Yeah, I caught that. I was just like, all right, we got Big Brother watching. Uh, um, no, but yeah. So with just like those other bands, Tyler the Creators, like he'll come on sometimes. Um, just like when I let Spotify take the
Yeah,
wheel and just do the King Gizzard radio, they'll come on, and I enjoy that stuff. Like that's actually been a really good way for me to discover new music just from letting Spotify run. I mean, like Tyler the Creator's there, Kikagaku
love it.
Moyo, and
Kikagaki Moyo is so good.
yeah, they're just fantastic.
Did you see
And
their
psychedelic porn crumpets are
Did you see
fantastic too.
their live set on KEXP, the recent one?
Uh, Kikagaku did a recent one in KEXP.
Yeah, Kikagaki Moyo did.
Oh shit!
It
No,
was really good.
I got to check that out. Yeah, I saw the one that they did after I think it was 2018 after Masana Temples came out, where they did like they started with Dripping Sun and yeah yeah Kikagaku is just fantastic.
Really super
Like
talented
that would
dude.
be yeah I know they played Gizz Fest a few years ago and like that must have been just nuts to see both Kikagaku Moyo and King Gizzard, plus all the other bands, just in the same festival.
Yeah,
Like,
that I mean,
yeah,
if I could be anywhere, I'd probably be there.
yeah. Um, I mean, it must be a little frustrating to be like to be 15 and like possibly not be able to get into festivals and shows and shit.
Yeah,
Uh, like
that
like
was
has that been much of a roadblock for you?
well, Gareth Lydiard's band Tropical Fuckstorm, they played
Love them.
yeah, they're fantastic. I love everything they do. They played
Yeah.
in Tennessee, and that club is I think it's 18 plus, which that sucks, but whatever. I'll
Yeah.
see them eventually.
Yeah, they'll be around for a little while. Um, but I mean, because they're another one of those bands that just like doesn't really give a fuck. They just kind of they're just cool with each other,
Yeah,
and like a guy I saw him play once, and it was just fantastic. Like just watching them enjoy themselves on stage, and I follow them on Instagram, so they're constantly posting stuff, just like pictures of them on the
oh
road.
yeah, yeah.
Because like one of the things that worries me, just whenever I'm a fan of any band, is just like, what if they break up?
Yeah.
And what's great about like King Gizzard and all these Australian bands is like they don't that doesn't really seem to be in the
They
cards.
really
Like
are just like all
like
homies, It doesn't feel like they'll ever
yeah.
do anything like that.
Yeah, like I wonder what it is. Like if it is just that they don't give into the like pressure of the music industry just to keep pumping out stuff to and basically just like burn themselves out quickly. Like they just don't do that somehow.
Yeah.
Um, but you know what else is interesting about Tropical Fuckstorm is um, Iggy Pop. He has a radio show, and he's been playing Tropical Fuckstorm like a lot. And like
Really.
I don't know where. I think his radio show is somewhere. I want to say it's like a late night show in Detroit, but it might be online. I forget which one it is, but he's been talking a lot about Tropical Fuckstorm and like it feels like slowly but surely he's making his way to King Gizzard, like because he just plays like all these new bands that are like up and coming, like Death Valley Girls he's into, and like I love them.
I've only listened to them a couple
And
times.
yeah, I saw them play live a few years ago. They were opening for Rocky Erickson, and and they just blew me away. They're another band that has that kind of Amyl and the Sniffers type of charisma, even though the sound is totally different. But like because their lead singer she'll like just jump off a stage and just dance in the audience. Like the more intimate the club, the better.
Yeah.
With Death Valley Girls.
I'm really digging
Yeah,
that
man.
about like this. I don't know, when bands are small, they're a lot more involved with their fans. It seems like it's easier to do that, obviously, because you don't have more fans to deal with.
Yeah, and also like I don't know. I think it requires like a certain level of humility from the artist, like
Yeah,
to just know that like, hey, here's where you're at. Just be happy that these people came to see you, and if even if they just showed up because they needed something to do on a Thursday night or something, um,
they're still
like
here to see you.
they're still here, and yeah, you got to make them feel loved. So, I knew nothing about the Death Valley Girls when I saw them, and by the end of the show, I bought a shirt, which like, which I usually don't even do. It was just like, but I just felt compelled to support them because like
Because you
their
love what
lead
they're doing.
singer,
Yeah,
yeah, and like she was like basically dancing right next to me and my and my friend, like we were just having a great time. Like I was thinking about taking a selfie, during the whole thing, and then I was just like, fuck it, I'm gonna enjoy the moment. I'll buy a
yeah.
shirt. That'll be enough.
Because sometimes
But
shoehorning a picture moment, like a Kodak moment, in there can kind of
yeah.
ruin the feeling. Sometimes you just gotta
Oh, totally.
store it away in the
Um,
memory banks.
yeah. Because and here's what's been a real trip to me and being in quarantine and everything is just how much I'm relying on my memories to keep me uplifted.
Yeah.
Like it's so weird. Like I've barely been depressed at all throughout this thing, and like it's so bizarre for me because like I do have like a bit of a depressive history, um, but like I've just been focusing on like like hey, here's what I got, and I got a shit ton of good memories. So it's like,
Yeah, I mean,
um, yeah, like
you got to rely on the good times, you know?
yeah, man. Hey, before I let you go, just wanted to wrap things up with just what have you sort of been thinking about? Just it doesn't really matter. It doesn't have to be a cohesive thought, but just anything in general that's been on your mind about King Gizzard or just music in general.
I'm just stoked for whatever they put out next, you know. It's always exciting. You know, they say they've got new music on the way, so I trust that whatever they put out, they're gonna, you know, do the best at it because they always do that. It's always quality.
Yeah. Do you have any like? I mean, I'm not asking for insights, but like right now we're just getting into total gossip and speculation. Like if you had to guess what sound they were gonna come up with next, like what sort of genre do you think that might be?
Well, I'd hope they would go back into microtonal kind of vibes they were doing back back when
Yeah,
Flying Microtonal Banana came out. Because I don't know, I heard
yeah,
around the AMA, you know, on Reddit, they mentioned that they were
hmm
doing some microtonal things. Um, Jazz, I would hope they do more of. I've kind of fallen into a little bit of a jazz kind of mood recently. That'd be cool.
oh yeah,
But I could also see them
um,
going a completely different direction because of how Chunky Shrapnel was scored. I could see how they would do something more synth wavy, you know?
yeah, yeah. They like this the synthwave stuff that they did with like a little bit on Fishies with Acarine uh and Psy Boogie, like that was a really interesting like
It was pretty cool
taste.
to see.
Um, yeah, I could definitely see that. And what's interesting is like they even incorporated a little microtonal stuff in sketches.
Yeah, I
So
remember
like
that.
it might not be yeah I forget which which song it was that they did, but uh yeah that just sort of blew my mind like when I realized like, oh wait, this is microtonal. So who knows? We might get synthwave and microtones on the same album.
That would
That would
be
be nuts.
incredible.
Yeah,
You can
but
only hope.
but before we drive ourselves nuts with yeah, before we drive ourselves crazy with just speculation, uh, I think this is a good place to wrap it up, and yeah, just look forward to whatever else is coming out.
Totally.
But thanks for coming on the pod,
It's
man.
been a blast.
Yeah, and don't let your parents get you down too much. I don't know what to say to kids, but all right, man. Take it easy,
You
dude.
too. Thanks so much. Bye bye.